or to someone just like your mother, grandfather, or next door neighbor. These seniors are inspiring people with incredible stories to share, and they love to see you. The smiles you get back are priceless. Delivering with Meals on Wheels is easy, and you don't have to drive like me for it to be quick. You can volunteer your lunch break once a week or just once a month. With 1 in 6 seniors facing hunger and many more living in isolation, your lunch break can make a real difference. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
Okay, Simon, what are you wearing right now?
Nothing.
That's right. And what do people normally wear?
Clothes.
Exactly. So now Mommy's going to teach you how to dress yourself. Clothes keep us warm, they look good, and if we go out without them, the neighbors will talk. So it's important to know how to get dressed. Here's how it's done. Underwear always comes first, name tag at the back, then pants, then shirt. Get the first button in the right hole or you have to start all over. If you're wearing a tie, it goes over, round, round, through, and pull tight. Tuck your shirt into your pants and zip up your flap. Socks going first, then shoes right on right, left on left. With shoelaces, just take the ends, cross them over, switch the loops. The rabbit goes down the hole, pull tight, and you're left with bunny ears.
I love bunnies.
Good to know. Now remember, spots don't go with stripes, socks don't go with sandals, and if you've tucked in your shirt, wear a belt. Got it? Why are your pants on your head?
Parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But spending just 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier and could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. For fun 2-minute videos to watch while brushing, visit 2min2x.org. That's 2min2x.org. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
So you see, son, good manners are very, very important. Someday, many years from now, when you're a grown-up, you'll be a man. And when you are, you should be a gentleman. Do you want me to go through it one more time?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Exactly. Always say please, thank you, you're welcome, and excuse me. Sit up straight, hold doors open for ladies. If a door's shut, then knock first. Don't burp, don't swear, don't speak with your mouth full, don't reach across people's plates, keep your elbows off the table.
What table?
And don't interrupt. While we're at it, don't stare, don't use foul language, don't call people names, but do remember people's names. Always share your toys, play nice, and cover your mouth when you cough or sneeze. On the bus, give up your seat to anyone who has trouble standing. Bottom line, treat others the way you'd like to be treated. Got it?
Got it.
Go down the hole, pull
And
tight.
stop picking your nose.
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But spending just 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier and could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. For fun 2-minute videos to watch while brushing, visit 2min2x.org. That's 2min2x.org. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Broadcasting from coast to coast,
city to city, coast to coast.
It's time for the Ryan Hickey Show on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. If it's happening in sports, it's being talked about right here. And here's your host, Ryan Hickey.
Good Monday morning and welcome into the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. It is the Ryan Hickey Show with you here for the next 2 hours until 11 a.m. Eastern. Diving into everything that we watched yesterday, reacting to Super Bowl 55, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, led by Tom Brady. This guy does it again. 10th career Super Bowl appearance, 7th career Super Bowl victory. Incredible. Impressive. The adjectives, honestly, we ran out of them a while ago. So I'm not even going to try to start, and sit here now after he wins his 7th Super Bowl and try to find some new adjectives because it's just a waste of time. I mean, just absolutely incredible. And we will dive into everything surrounding the game last night, what we saw. The Chiefs offense struggling, the Buccaneers defense getting after Patrick Mahomes and this Chiefs offense, the halftime show, which personally, I actually kind of liked. I liked the weekend. I thought he played some good songs. A lot of you on social media thought the opposite. So I guess I'm in the minority there. Because everything in between, hopefully, whatever you did for the Super Bowl last night, the food was good. The drinks were good. You had a good time. And we all just collectively enjoyed one last football game together for the 2020 season. As a reminder, we're coming to you live, as we always are, from the Big Italy Pizzeria Studios, whether it's great pizza, hot heroes, and phenomenal dinners. Check out Big Italy Pizzeria in person in Medford, Joe's Pizzeria in Bayshore, or wherever you are online at BigItalyPizza.com. So like I said, a lot of storylines, a lot of different things to talk about here for the next 2 hours until 11 a.m. Eastern. Is this Tom Brady's greatest career accomplishment? We'll get to that in about 15 minutes or so at 9:20 Eastern. Because again, like I just mentioned, his 10th Super Bowl appearance, his 7th Super Bowl victory, and he did so away from the Patriots. After leaving New England after 2 decades of success, going down in Tampa Bay, new team, new coach, new conference, new philosophy, new offensive system, new everything. Doesn't matter. It's just comical the more you think about it. It is just unbelievable. So we'll get to that in 9:20. 9:40, I want to look at this from the Chiefs' perspective. Could this loss actually be a blessing in disguise? Could this actually be a good thing for Kansas City? We'll do that at 9:40, top of the second hour, 10 a.m. Eastern. The NFL is a copycat league. We kind of know that. We've known that for a while here. Whatever works, teams try to emulate that. Whether it's head coaching hires, defensive philosophies, offensive play calling, whatever it is, once one team has success doing one thing out of the norm, all of a sudden teams try to follow that lead. Well, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers did something out of the norm because we thought, okay, you can only win a Super Bowl, you can only find a franchise quarterback through the draft. It's the only way to get him. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers did something opposite. They signed a 43-year-old quarterback and won the Super Bowl. Can any other team now follow Tampa Bay's lead, sign a quarterback, try to find a franchise guy not through the draft, and still try to win a Super Bowl? A few teams out there that could make this happen. We'll get into those teams at 10 a.m. Eastern. 10:20, we'll be joined by Jarrett Bell, a tremendously talented USA Today NFL columnist, was at the game in Tampa yesterday. We'll get his thoughts on a lot of what we saw yesterday. He will be there to break down. Wrote a very interesting column, more from the Kansas City perspective as well, that I thought was interesting. We'll get to that as well at 10:20 Eastern. But I want to start with an award. I want to start with tip my hat to someone that we talked about a little bit. We had some inkling of, maybe they'll have their blueprints all over this game. When you look at the final score, the Buccaneers beat the Chiefs 31-9. We talk about Super Bowl MVP. Yes, Tom Brady got the award. Classic Tom Brady's 5th MVP award out of 7 Super Bowl victories. When you talk about truly the most valuable player in this game, it was not a player. It was not Tom Brady. It was not Leonard Fournette. It was not Devin White. It was not Shaq Barrett or JPP or even that defensive line of Tampa Bay that got after Mahomes and got after him alive. We'll dive into those numbers here in a second. But no, it was a coach. It was not even Bruce Arians. It was a defensive coordinator. It was Todd Bowles. Because we're truly talking about the real MVP of the game. When I'm looking at that award, to me, it's Todd Bowles. I understand, okay, that goes to a player. Tradition says, but you know what? It's 2020. Everything that we thought was right in the world up until this point this year was shown that, you know what? Hey, changes can be made. We can deviate from the norm and still survive, still be okay. Right? That's essentially all of what 2020 was. Trying to normalize the unnormal. And we made it. We made it through. So how come, you know what? We should have done yesterday a perfect 2020 fitting. Give the MVP award to a coach because Todd Bowles did something yesterday that really no coach has been able to do in the 3 years Patrick Mahomes has been a starter. Shut this Chiefs offense down. He absolutely shut them down. Gave them no room to breathe. Even gave them no confidence on the field. At any point, they always looked lost. Couldn't figure out what Tampa was doing. Couldn't really get into a rhythm. And Todd Bowles had his fingers all over the blueprint, yesterday. And to me, he was the MVP of this game. Bruce Arians knows it. Post-game, he gave a hat tip to not only Brian Leftwich, who called an incredible game offensively, but gave a lot of credit to his defensive coordinator, Todd Bowles, as well.
Yeah, I thought all three guys had great plans. Byron did a great job, I thought, of just mixing it up, running past, and then pounding them when we needed to, and Todd had a great plan. Keep them in front of us and let our front four get after them, and they chased him around all night.
They absolutely chased him around all night. I mean, you saw Patrick Mahomes running around last night. Guy was running for his life almost every single play, it felt like. So let's dive into the numbers. Let's see what Todd Bowles truly did. Because again, what we saw last night was something we've never seen before. When was the last time, honestly, you could sit here and say, oh yeah, Patrick Mahomes really had a bad game? I couldn't remember. I was racking my brain last night. Even went through some of the game logs. I'm like, wow, we've really never seen anything like this before. Think about what Tampa Bay's defense did to Patrick Mahomes last night. Heading to the third quarter, and even in the third quarter, Patrick Mahomes had 80 yards passing. Not 80 yards in a drive, not 80 yards in a quarter. He had 80 yards over halfway through the game. That's it. This is not some, backup quarterback thrust into action. This is not some meddling, okay quarterback that really is not that good, not the reason why the team is winning. This is, I think, easily said, the best player right now in the NFL. This is by far, at least if you don't want to go that far, the best quarterback in the NFL. And he was held to 80 passing yards into the third quarter. Didn't throw a touchdown pass. Threw 2 interceptions. I mean, you look at the Chiefs offense, scored just 9 points, 3 field goals. And Patrick Mahomes was held to a career low 52.3 passer rating. So you hear those numbers, right? Career low passer rating, just 9 points, 2 interceptions, no touchdowns. And he finished over 300 yards in the game. But again, heading into the third quarter, when it was still a game, he had just 80 yards passing. Had to break the century mark well into the third quarter. So how rare is that? Because I went back and looked. This is only the 4th time in Patrick Mahomes' career he's been held without a touchdown pass. And the 3 other times previous to yesterday, Chiefs were 3-0. Shows you how good this team is. When Patrick Mahomes isn't getting it done, they figure out other ways to win the game. And they could not do that yesterday. This is the 3rd time since 2019 when he really took over the league. Really, came on firing, won the MVP, won the Super Bowl, that he's thrown multiple interceptions in a game. Just the 3rd time. And by far, the 9 points scored, the lowest point total in Patrick Mahomes' career. I mean, bad days happen, of course. It's the NFL. We know that. But to think a guy like this, who we've seen have so much success in 2018, 2019, 2020, get humbled the way he did was incredible. And even the most impressive part, because at least my thinking going back to Thursday when I picked the Chiefs, is that it's not only one player for Kansas City. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes is incredibly talented. But what makes him good is guys like Tyreek Hill, who are impossible to guard. Guys like Travis Kelce, when you try to take Tyreek Hill away, he burns you on those one-on-one matchups. The run game has bailed out the Chiefs in a few times this year. And most importantly, maybe, outside of the players on the field, when you have the combination of Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy, 2 offensive minds that are very creative, that are very good. Usually, even when maybe the players aren't getting the job done, they can put their players in positions to succeed so the Chiefs offense figures out a way to score points, figures out a way to win the game. And you know what happened last night? Whether it was Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, Eric Bieniemy, Andy Reid, they had no answers. They had no answers. Because I don't know about you, but at least for me, sitting there yesterday, we've seen Patrick Mahomes come back from a 24-0 deficit. We've seen him come back from a 10-point deficit to the Titans in the AFC title game. We've seen him come back from a 10-point deficit with just over 7 minutes left in the 4th quarter of the Super Bowl just last year. So even though the Buccaneers are playing well, they scored that touchdown right before halftime. Even when it gets to 31-9, I'm still sitting there saying the Chiefs will turn it on. There's no way we're going to go a full 4 quarters without the Chiefs really trying to figure it out on offense, really starting to push the ball down the field, have some success, and score a touchdown or 2 in a row to make this a game. I was waiting, and they never made it happen because Todd Bowles not only never took his foot off the gas, continued to throw new curveballs, new changeups at the Chiefs offense, and they had no answers. They couldn't figure it out. For the first time in a very long time, Andy Reid was the one on the other side scratching his head, not the defensive coordinator. And again, here's Bruce Arians again, post-game, giving a hat tip to the incredible game plan Todd Bowles had last night.
Yeah, you can't give him enough credit. I think he got a little tired of hearing about how unstoppable they were. I thought he came up with a fantastic plan just to keep them in front of us and tackle real well. And that Patrick wasn't going to beat us running. We let him run all day and just keep chasing him around and see if we can make some plays.
Boy, was Patrick Mahomes running. Let's talk about that because obviously, look, you can't ignore the fact that, yes, Tampa Bay was helped out that the Chiefs' offensive line was banged up. Both of their starting tackles were out. That's a huge issue. And I'll be honest, we mentioned it in passing. We asked Joe Theismann about it, and Joe said, they'll figure out, the two tackles being out will hurt more in the run game than the pass game. And I agreed with him. I thought, you know what, if anyone is there to make up for both of your starting tackles being absent, it's Patrick Mahomes on the field, it's Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy off the field. But guess what? That was not the case. Because I feel like every single time Patrick Mahomes got the ball, dropped back, and was trying to look to pass, he was under pressure. ESPN Stats and Info put stats to this. So Patrick Mahomes had 56 dropbacks yesterday. He was pressured on 29 of them. More than half, if I do my math correctly. And I'm not the best mathematician in the world, but 29 is more than half of 56. And ESPN Stats and Info also said this is the most pressures of any quarterback in Super Bowl history. Are you guys ready for this? I saw this morning and almost started laughing at myself at how comical this is. Right? Because if you can remember, on almost every dropback, I felt like Patrick Mahomes was running to his left, running to his right, dropping back, running further, spinning around, doing whoop-de-doos, just trying to get away, trying to buy himself some time. Well, Michael Lopez, who does stats for the NFL, put this out on Twitter, and it's an incredible graphic. He tracked every single Patrick Mahomes scramble that he had last night. Do you want to take a guess at how many total yards Patrick Mahomes scrambled for yesterday? And this includes run around the pocket, even the incomplete passes, meaning running 30 yards around, throwing the ball, diving and throwing the ball for incomplete passes. Patrick Mahomes last night scrambled for a total of 468 yards. Think about that. 468 yards when Patrick Mahomes would drop back from where he took the snap. He would run to his left, run to his right, run backwards, spin around, run back to his left, run back to his right, try to find someone, throw the ball. He scrambled for a total of 468 yards. For comparison, how that compares to Tom Brady? Tom Brady's total scramble yards he had was 37. So yeah, obviously Tom Brady's not a mobile quarterback, but even still, he has to move around to make some plays. He scrambled for a total of 37 yards. Or I guess if you don't want to say scramble, because maybe sometimes you think scrambling, he runs, yards past the line of scrimmage. But let's say Tom Brady moved around for a total of 37 yards. Patrick Mahomes moved around for 468 yards. That is just mind-blowing. I'll retweet it at Ryan Hickey Show if you want to take a look, because not only did Michael Lopez put, obviously, stats in front of us, he had a chart where there was lines to depict every single Patrick Mahomes run. You look at the Patrick Mahomes chart where he's running left, he's running right. It is all over the place. You see Tom Brady? Tom Brady's, you have to squint to see it. That's how small it is. It's incredible. I'll retweet here when we go to break at Ryan Hickey Show if you want to take a look at the visual aspect of how much Patrick Mahomes ran last night. But again, obviously that is in part because of two offensive tackles missing for Kansas City. That's also in part because Todd Bowles drew up an incredibly great game plan that consistently got pressure on Mahomes. Not only did he consistently get pressure on Mahomes, he did a tremendous job in learning from the first meeting to the second meeting. Because remember, first time these two teams played, Tyreek Hill had like 5 million yards in the first quarter. He finished with 269 receiving yards and 3 touchdowns in the first meeting. And what happened? Todd Bowles said, nope, not again. This guy is not beating us again. He did get 7 catches for 73 yards, but a lot of that was in the final drive or two when the game was already over. Double teamed Tyreek Hill every single chance he got. You're not beating us, and he didn't. So finally, just to illustrate the tremendous job Todd Bowles did, this very explosive offense from Kansas City, which, like we said, has Tyreek Hill, who even if you throw the ball behind the line of scrimmage, is almost impossible to tackle, and he is a 20, 25, 30-yard play waiting to happen. Travis Kelce, who makes everyone miss in a one-on-one situation. Patrick Mahomes, with his incredible arm, his ability to keep plays alive, chucking it deep, incredible accuracy, whatever, all the accolades you want to give him. And Andy Reid dialing up the plays, putting guys in positions to succeed. The Chiefs last night had just 20, had 3 plays of 20 or more yards. That's it. You were talking about explosive plays. They had just 3 of them. First one didn't come until that Clyde Edwards-Helaire long run to start the second half. And again, by that point, game's almost over. So will the real MVP please say now, because I'm giving it to you, Todd Bowles. You had by far the greatest impact of the game. I tip my hat to you because, again, Todd Bowles did something as a defensive coordinator that no other coach in the NFL really has done in 3 years that Patrick Mahomes has been a starter. Shut this Chiefs offense down. Because even when the Chiefs are losing games, they're high scoring. They're shootouts. The only loss this year was to the Raiders. Raiders scored over 30 points. Every single time. Well, the only loss they had with Patrick Mahomes, at least as a starter. So think about that. Every single time this Chiefs offense takes the field, they are scoring almost 30 points. It feels like as a guarantee. If you want to beat them, it's going to be a shootout. Todd Bowles said, no. We're going to shut them down. And he did. So congrats to you. I know Tom Brady technically won the MVP, but in my mind, that award goes to Todd Bowles. So I'm curious your thoughts. What's your reaction? Buccaneers defeat the Chiefs 31-9. Super Bowl champions for the second time in their franchise history. Tom Brady gets his 7th Super Bowl. Speaking of which, Tom Brady just, again, continues to add the accolades, continues to add the hardware to his trophy case. Winning his 7th, going to Tampa Bay in his first year and winning. Is this Tom Brady's greatest accomplishment he's ever achieved? We'll discuss the next. It is the Ryan Hickey Show right here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Ranger Station, Ranger speaking.
Hi, I'd like to report a bear hug.
Uh-huh, okay.
Well, we were building a bonfire, and I saw some, dry brush and leaves around, so, I said to move the bonfire somewhere else, and out of nowhere, Smokey Bear shows up and hugs me.
So you noticed some wildfire hazards and moved your bonfire to a safer location.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Smokey, all right. He likes it when people help prevent wildfires. It hits him close to home. Not everybody gets the hug, my friend. So that's pretty special to get a hug from Smokey Bear.
So it was him. Hey, guys, I told you it was Smokey.
Okay, well, congratulations, my friend. And thanks for calling. There are many ways to prevent a wildfire. Learn how you can do your part at SmokeyBear.com.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Sponsored by the U.S. Forest Service, Ad Council, and your state forester.
Hope you enjoyed your meal. And I just want to say, he's lucky to have a brother like you.
Lucky? Caring for my brother is far from easy. Waking up every day, lifting him from the bed to the wheelchair to the car to get him to therapy on time, it's no small task between the doctors and the diagnosis, but nothing can disable this love. This is my big brother, my hero. He's part of me, like my arms and legs, so I'll be his. See, there's no time for tired. This starts again tomorrow. He'll be waiting for me. I wake up for him. I know he needs me, but I'm the lucky one, even though I need help now and then.
If you're caring for a loved one, visit aarp.org/caregiving for care guides and community, or call 877-333-5885. Caregiving Resource Center. Support for your strength. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Welcome back to the Ryan Hickey Show, right here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
By Todd Bowles and the entire defensive staff. So credit to you. I know Tom Brady technically won the MVP award, which, I don't even know, honestly, why we give the MVP out if we're just going to give it to the quarterback every single year. But hey, Tom Brady played well, not taking anything away from him. But the difference in that game was the defense. So credit to you, Todd Bowles. But speaking of which, Tom Brady did get his 7th career Super Bowl win. which is, I mean, you think about just, man, the craziness of that. Not only does he have 7, not only has he appeared in 10, he has more Super Bowls himself than any other franchise in the NFL. San Francisco, Pittsburgh, New England, Dallas. Tom Brady has more on his own in the 20-plus years he's been in the NFL than any of those franchises. I mean, what else is there to say at this point? That is just, I mean, the guy just keeps on winning. All he does, truly all he does, to steal a line from DJ Khaled is win. Mind-blowing. So despite the fact that he leaves the Patriot system, is it Tom Brady? Is it Bill Belichick? He's a system quarterback, blah, 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 all this Patriot stuff. Who truly is the reason for all this greatness? Well, Tom Brady leaves New England, goes to Tampa Bay, goes through a pandemic, all that goes with it. New team, new conference, new teammates, new coaching staff, new system, all that. Still wins the Super Bowl, no big deal. No other quarterback is doing that in the NFL. Just an incredible performance by Tom Brady. So that begs the question. All of those factors considered. Oh, excuse me. Oh, man. Whew. Sneezing this morning. All right. That's out of the way. So all those factors considered. When you look at Tampa Bay, all the obstacles, all the hurdles Tom Brady had to overcome, clear to get to this point. Is this the greatest career accomplishment Tom Brady has ever had? Is this the Super Bowl win, right? If you had to rank all 7, I guess it's sort of like, picking children. And Tom Brady wouldn't say this postgame when he was asked. He wouldn't make this declaration. But the question begs, is this the greatest accomplishment Tom Brady's ever had, right? When the man who has everything, what do you get the man who has everything is saying? Well, I mean, if it's Tom Brady, give this guy a Super Bowl going to a new team. But with that said, with all the incredible hurdles that he had to overcome, we'll get to those in a second here. I still don't think this is Tom Brady's greatest career accomplishment. I still think in my mind, overcoming a 28-3 deficit back in Super Bowl 51 against the Falcons, to me, is something that when you look at trying to rank Super Bowls, something that is still his greatest feat. Something that I don't personally believe could be topped, could be beaten, no matter what he does in terms of getting other Super Bowls. And as we just saw, in terms of road to get there, in probability, he cleared all of those hurdles. But you still look at that 28-3 comeback. And not only is it 28-3 in a regular season game, not only is it 20-3, maybe even a playoff game to get to the Super Bowl, the 28-3 comeback came in the Super Bowl on the greatest stage possible. You are having your worst career night for 2.5, almost 3 quarters. I mean, we've never seen a team overcome a 25-point deficit, let alone do it in the Super Bowl. Well, I guess we have seen teams overcome deficits before, but in terms of on the big stage in the Super Bowl, there's a reason why 20-3 lives in infamy. Because it's improbable to come back from. So I looked it up last night, just to make sure. They were down 20-3, not, in the first half where it's all right, you still have plenty of time to come back. They were down 20-3 with just over 2 minutes left in the third quarter before they scored their first touchdown. So time wasn't on their side. They basically had to come back from just over a little of a quarter remaining in the Super Bowl. And not only, again, were they able to score enough to make the comeback, they basically needed everything to break right. They needed the Falcons to choke it up, keep throwing the ball, stopping the clock, giving the Patriots extra time to come back. Tom Brady to play basically flawless in that second half, especially towards the end of the third quarter and especially in the fourth quarter, and he did that. Super Bowl record 43 completions. He threw for 466 passing yards. Improbable, incredible. So when you take that into account, when you take that, again, especially because it came in the big game, I just don't see a comeback personally like that happening ever again on a Super Bowl stage. That's to me why I still would put that 20-3 comeback over the Falcons as his greatest career accomplishment, because it's improbable. It's impossible. Again, everything that had to go right did go right. That Julian Edelman catch where it bounces off a few body parts. He catches the ball. No one thinks it's a catch. Driving down the field time after time after time to score. Getting two two-point conversions. And once you get the ball in overtime, it's over. So I personally don't see a 28-3-esque comeback happening again in the Super Bowl for really anybody. Maybe I'm wrong. It already happened once. Why not happen again? But I just don't see it happening. So that's why, at least to me, I will put 20-3 as his greatest career accomplishment. With that said, I don't want to diminish what he just accomplished here in Tampa Bay. Because let's look at the factors he had to overcome. Because, again, it is truly improbable and impossible what he was able to conquer, what he was able to do. Because think about it. He spent 2 decades, 20 years in New England. He knew one system, one head coach, one philosophy, one area, one conference, one division. He knew all that. So now, after you're somewhere for 20 years, you have to go somewhere else, totally brand new situation. And I couldn't imagine even working where I work at CBS Sports Radio. I've been there for 4.5 years now. I mean, even if I left there now to go somewhere else, I mean, it's going to take me a long time to adjust, figure out, their new system, what software are they using, what is their philosophy here, who the people are. Forget, let alone moving to a new location. So not only just the move itself, trying to, familiarize yourself with new settings and brand new conference, that's incredible. You did so in the middle of a pandemic. So now, Tom Brady, as we know, a man of routine, who I saw this on Twitter actually yesterday or last night, Trevor Immelman, pro golfer, he put out this story that last night that was just very funny. It shows you the will to win. So do you remember the match, right? Back in, I think it was May, when you had Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Charles Barkley, playing with Tiger Woods, playing with Phil Mickelson. Right, remember that was a lot of fun. Well, Trevor Immelman was there. When he told a story last night about how, if you remember, it was like pouring rain hours before the match was supposed to start. And he said, there's Tom Brady out there doing strenuous sprints. He's out there stretching in the parking lot of the golf course just hours before he's supposed to take in this match. And I think it was Charles Barkley asked him, Tom, what the hell are you doing? He goes, trying to win a Super Bowl. So the pandemic comes in, cancels all of your preseason work. So again, a man who is out here, despite being on TV, despite playing in a fun golf match, is out here doing sprints in the middle of pouring rain in a parking lot at a golf course. Because his preseason work has been basically cut short. So there's no OTAs, which for a guy going to a new spot would have been huge. No mini camps, no even ability to, I don't want to say legally, because it's not illegal, but no ability to, by the letter of the law of the NFL, even work out with his teammates. Remember that. This guy was sneaking on the high school fields in order to practice with Scotty Miller and Cameron Brady and Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. Just get some familiarity going. And because of the pandemic, because the NFL didn't want players gathering and having super spreader events, they had to do so illegally. So now you have a guy who, for 20 years, knew one system, knew his receivers, is a timing-based quarterback. So let's call it for what it is, right? I mean, he's not just one of those guys that will drop back there almost like a Mahomes where, hey, you're going to run this way, boom, I'll throw it to you. He is about timing. He's about reading defenses and being on the same page with his receiver, saying, hey, I trust that you see the same thing I'm seeing. I'm going to throw it to a spot here. I expect you to be there. Almost very Peyton Manning-esque. Peyton Manning was all about timing, all about reading defenses and being on the same page as those receivers. So now you're not able to work with your receivers. You're not able to get on the same page with them until training camp, technically. So that's a massive challenge for a quarterback of his style. Let alone that now you're going to a brand new system to where, again, for 20 years in New England, for the most part, you're asked to throw the ball underneath. Throw the ball on quick timing routes, slants, underneath routes, curls. Not really pushing the ball down the field. When you had Randy Moss in 2007, yeah, he was moving the ball down the field. But for the most part, for the majority of his career in New England, it was underneath passes. It was timing routes. It was short stuff. Death by 1,000 paper cuts, if you will. Well, now he's going to Tampa Bay, where the head coach, Bruce Arians, is a total opposite. He is about aggressiveness. He's about pushing the ball down the field. Turnovers, who cares? I just saw Jameis Winston throw 30 interceptions. Turnovers don't affect me. We're going to push the ball down the field. We're going to throw. We're going to put the defense in bad positions, compromising situations, and we're going to put them on their heels. So now, again, not only is he going to a new conference during the middle of a pandemic where all of your preseason activities where you usually get some familiarity with your new teammates is gone. Now you're going to play in a system that really is the total opposite of what you've played in for 20 years. Now you're doing something and throwing the ball down the field more than you ever have in your career. And not to mention, he's 43 years old. Guys like him aren't even supposed to have anywhere near the amount of success that he had at his age. And he goes down at 43 and does all of that. Changes his stripes. Could you imagine anyone in any sort of walk of life when you've done something and been successful for 2 decades and you were at the age where you could easily walk away, still be considered the greatest of all time? And not only do you want to keep on playing, you're able to change your stripes. You're able to say, hey, what got me here, what's led to my success with 9 Super Bowl appearances, 6 Super Bowl victories in New England, I know what I'm doing. Now, could you imagine going to a new team, going to play for a guy like Bruce Arians, who, hey, Bruce Arians is a great coach. I'm not trying to take anything away from him, but he's never won a Super Bowl as a head coach. So now you have Tom going down there basically saying, hey, you're going to have to change what you're doing. You're going to have to change your philosophy, Tom, to cater to my offense, to cater to Mike Evans, my receiver, Chris Godwin, my receiver. Tampa says, sure. There was a little meat in the middle, absolutely. But he adapted to a totally new offense that he's never played with for the most part in 20 years. So the age, the circumstances, the offensive system. And by the way, not only did all of that he was able to overcome, he also won 3 road playoff games, something he's never done in his career. Taylor Heinicke, he played well in that Washington wild card game, but went on the road to beat Drew Brees in the Superdome, went on the road to beat Aaron Rodgers, the league MVP in Lambeau Field. And you heard me. I was singing the praises for the Packers the last 6-7 weeks. No way anyone's going into Lambeau and beating the Packers. If they get home field advantage, they're going to the Super Bowl. Well, Tom Brady had other plans for that. And as we know, the only home playoff game he had this year, ironically enough, is a Super Bowl, and he wins. Absolutely incredible. Arguably the greatest career accomplishment for anyone else in this walk of life. But personally for me, not a Patriots fan, but I just look at that accomplishment to overcome a 20-3 deficit back in Super Bowl 51. I will give Tom that edge. I would think that to me is his greatest accomplishment. But right there, number 2 is this Super Bowl. Because like I just said, the obstacles he was able to overcome to get here, for just getting here, winning it is incredible. Absolutely incredible. So hat tip to you, Tom Brady. But I'm curious your thoughts. Is this Tom Brady's greatest career accomplishment he's ever achieved? Facebook, you can weigh in, Worldwide Sports Network. Twitter, tweet us at WWSRN_radio. Tweet me directly if you want at Ryan Hickey Show. Or you can also find that tweet about Patrick Mahomes scrambling for 468 yards yesterday. You can visually see the graphic of all Patrick Mahomes' scrambles compared to Tom Brady's. It is mind-numbing. You're going to need a microscope to see Tom Brady's scrambles. Hint, he didn't really run that much. So Twitter, WWSRN_radio. You can comment on the live stream right there on Periscope. Facebook, Worldwide Sports Network. Also on Twitter at Ryan Hickey Show. Is this Tom Brady's greatest career accomplishment in your minds? Going down to Tampa Bay, pandemic and all, new conference, new team, new division, new offensive system, new head coach. 43 years old? Having to win 3 road playoff games, he did it all. An incredible feat, an incredible performance. I'll still say 20-3 is the number 1 accomplishment for Tom Brady, but this is right there. So here's your thoughts. Again, one last time, Worldwide Sports Network on Facebook, WWSRN_radio on Twitter, at Ryan Hickey Show, also on Twitter. Is this Tom Brady's greatest career accomplishment. So we'll get your thoughts. And also when we come back, how about we look at it from a Kansas City perspective? On the flip side, what's next for the Chiefs? I think this loss actually could be more beneficial than a win. I'll explain what that means next. It is the Ryan Hickey Show right here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Edward Lehman has been a trusted insurance advisor for over 16 years with insurance solutions for auto, home, commercial, life, and retirement. He's located at 54 Sunnyside Boulevard, Suite H in Plainview. That's just 1,000 feet south of 495. Local agent, local advice. The time to think about insurance is before you need it. So do yourself a favor, and before you pay your next insurance bill, give Ed and his team a call, 516-935-3900, or visit him online at www.allstate.com/EL. Edward H. Lehman Insurance is your trusted insurance advisor.
Be fearless at MMA Long Island and Seituha Karate. Located at 28 Colt Court in Ronkonkoma, MMA Long Island is the martial arts school for you if you want to learn combat-proven techniques, build confidence, discipline, and self-esteem while learning real martial arts to fight back against.
Welcome back to the Ryan Hickey Show, right here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Be fearless at MMA Long Island and Seituha Karate. Located at 28 Colt Court in Ronkonkoma, MMA Long Island is the martial arts school for you if you want to learn combat-proven techniques, build confidence, discipline, and self-esteem while learning real martial arts to fight back against bullies, predators, and peer pressure. MMA Long Island offers group and private lessons for all ages and levels in traditional Goju-Ryu Karate, MMA, and self-defense. MMA Long Island is one of Long Island's most affordable martial arts schools. There are no promotion, belt, or membership fees, and family discounts are available. All classes are taught by 7th degree black belt Sensei John Benedict with over 30 years teaching experience. So whether you want to get in the ring or protect yourself and your family, MMA Long Island can help you reach your goals. Visit MMALongIsland.com. That's MMALongIsland.com, or call or text 516-381-9660. That's 516-381-9660.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed. And they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs. And it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover guitar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Dear John, I was hoping it wouldn't come to this, but you've left me no choice. I'm leaving. Uncontrolled high blood pressure is really serious, and lately you seem to really not care. I've been there for you since day one, and I know you think I'm going to keep ticking. But no, my friend, I can quit whenever I want. Why can't we get back to the good times, when we were more active and ate more healthy foods, and you checked on me every once in a while? Is that too much to ask? I don't want to leave, but unless you stop ignoring me, what else am I supposed to do? Remember, when I quit, you quit. Sincerely, your heart.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you. Doing the minimum to control your high blood pressure isn't doing enough. High blood pressure can lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get your blood pressure to a healthy range before it's too late. Find out how at heart.org/blood pressure. Check, change, control. A message from the American Heart Association, the American Stroke Association, and the Ad Council.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Welcome back to the Ryan Hickey Show, right here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
And welcome back into the Ryan Hickey Show, right here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network, taking you to 11 a.m. Eastern, right here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network, taking your thoughts on either our Facebook page, Worldwide Sports Radio Network, on our Twitter account at WWSRN_radio, at Ryan Hickey Show if you want to tweet me directly there. Comment on the live stream on Periscope if you have running on Twitter, or on the live stream on Facebook that we have on our Facebook page. Is this Tom Brady's greatest career accomplishment? Is what Brady achieved last night, winning his 7th Super Bowl, and not only winning his 7th Super Bowl, first of all, more than any other NFL franchise in history. Think about that. He himself, Tom Brady, the man, Tom Brady, the CEO, the person, the player, has more Super Bowls than any other NFL franchise. We just celebrated the 100th anniversary of the NFL last year. In 101 years, the NFL has been around. No franchise has been or has won more Super Bowls than just Tom Brady in the last 21 years. The accolades could go on and on and on. It is just mind-blowing. So in your mind, winning the 7th, going to Tampa Bay, new team, new division, new conference with a new head coach with a different philosophy during the middle of a pandemic. In the middle of a global pandemic. Goes to Tampa Bay and wins his 7th Super Bowl in his first year there. Is this his greatest career accomplishment? Facebook, Worldwide Sports Network, Twitter, WWSRN_radio, at Ryan Hickey Show. Also on Twitter, my guy CJ DeSimone, huge fan of his. Weapons Hot right here on the Worldwide Sports Network every Sunday night at 7 Eastern. So you Jets fans, especially you NFL fans, Jets are a very relevant team this year. Great head coach hiring Robert Saleh. Love that hire. Could they be in the mix for Deshaun Watson? Could they draft a quarterback at number 2? A lot of questions there. A lot of intrigue about the Jets, what they do. So Weapons Hot. CJ always keeps you updated with the latest Jets news. Again, every Sunday night, 7 Eastern. Right here. Where else? The Worldwide Sports Network. He writes in, agree with your pick for MVP. We started the show with that as well. If you want to chime in on that conversation. Tom Brady won the MVP. He did. But the real MVP of this game, you know Eminem, will the real Slim Shady please stand up? If you know that song. Will the real MVP please stand up? That is Todd Bowles, defensive coordinator for the Buccaneers last night, because he had himself a day. Sure, if you're a Jets fan, it's a little ironic seeing a guy you right out of town carve up and scheme up such an impressive game plan against Mahomes last night. But that's what he did. Buccaneers had a ton of success, held the Chiefs to just 9 points. First time in Patrick Mahomes' career, 54 starts that he has been held without, the Chiefs scoring an offensive touchdown, by far the lowest point total that they've accumulated in his time there in Kansas City. Lowest career passer rating. We can go on and on and on. No touchdown passes, 2 interceptions. It was an incredible job by Todd Bowles. Is he the true MVP? So again, Facebook, Worldwide Sports Network, Twitter, WWSRN_radio, at Ryan Hickey Show, also on Twitter. So that's from the Tampa Bay perspective, right? We'll definitely touch back on them, circle back. We still have Jarrett Bell coming up in about a half hour, 10:20 Eastern, there last night in Tampa we'll get his thoughts. Wrote a very nice column, kind of harping on the Chiefs, and we'll get to Kansas City here. Because honestly, coming out of this game, kind of even seeing how the post-game press conferences went, I think this could be a dynasty-creating loss for the Chiefs. That's right. A dynasty-creating loss. Because you look at the history of Super Bowl champions, when you look at just the history of the game, right? 55 of them. No team has ever won 3 straight Super Bowls. Now, I understand. Look, I'm jumping the gun here. They won't go for 3 straight. They're trying to go back-to-back. I just want to highlight just truly how hard it is to not only win the big game, but have sustained success. Because we've seen a ton of great dynasties out there, right? Steel Curtain with Pittsburgh. Dallas had an incredible dynasty. Even most recently, the New England Patriots, I categorize it personally as one long dynasty of 20 years of success, because even when they didn't win Super Bowls, they're still either getting to them or coming very close. I know some people want to break it up. One dynasty in the early 2000s, one dynasty just a few years ago, whatever. Either 2 dynasties, 1 dynasty, doesn't matter. They have obviously a ton of success. But look at truly how hard it is to win the big game. Like I said, no one has ever won 3 straight, which again, those Chiefs are only going for back-to-back, but just more to highlight truly how hard it is to win. Only 8 Super Bowl champions out of 54 have ever repeated. So think about that. Right? Obviously, we won't count the Buccaneers because they haven't had a chance to repeat yet, but out of 54 champions going for a repeat, only 8 have done it. But despite that, despite no team ever winning 3 straight Super Bowls, despite the fact that only 8 out of 54 teams, or chances, if you will, had a chance to repeat and did so, plenty of great dynasties were built along the way. Like I just mentioned, Steelers, incredible dynasty. 49ers, Joe Montana, Jerry Rice, they had their time. The Raiders had a nice little run. And again, most recently, the Patriots with their, I say, 2-decade-long run of success. But dynasties were created, they were built and were achieved, despite the fact that Super Bowls were lost along the way. Playoff games were lost along the way. And at least coming out of this game, I can view this loss as a chance to not only humble the Chiefs, help to open up their eyes to the true of the cracks on the team, throughout the team, that reared their ugly head in the biggest moments and derailed them from winning back-to-back Super Bowls. If they are able to look themselves in the mirror, accept reality, and learn from these mistakes, I think this truly can really make this franchise even better next year, make them even more formidable going forward. And I truly think that this could help create a dynasty. 3 Super Bowls in 4 years, 3 and 5, 4 and 6, whatever you want to, use to create a dynasty. I truly think that could happen here, and that is what's building in Kansas City. A few different factors, right? Let's look just purely from a humbling perspective. He's going into this game. I said it. I thought it. Patrick Mahomes could do no wrong. Laid it out back on Thursday's show. In the 3 years he's been a starter in the NFL, what he's been able to accomplish already, no one else has really been able to accomplish what he has individually up to this point. MVP award he had. Super Bowl MVP award he had. One-time All-Pro, I should say. Was a Pro Bowler all 3 times that he's been a starter in the league. His career record entering the Super Bowl, 38-8. Guy could do no wrong. But as we know, as we've seen, right, the NFL is a league of parity. It's never that easy. It truly never is that easy. Never that easy to win back-to-back. Never that easy to play your best game every single time you're on the big stage. Never that easy to have as much success as he had so far in his 3 years in the league. I mean, hell, even look at Tom Brady. For all the accolades that we gave him, right? 10 Super Bowl appearances. He just won his 7th. Even he, despite winning 7, went 10 years in between Super Bowl wins. So it's not that easy. And I will admit, I fall guilty to this. I thought it was going to be that easy. Because of the head coach Andy Reid, because of the way the offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy helped scheme up the offense, because you had Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce and a solid offensive line and a run game that, when you needed them to, could help win you a game. But even with all those things going right, as we've seen, it's still not easy. Still have to get humbled in this fact. And even though, honestly, Patrick Mahomes didn't play a bad game last night. The offense really struggled, but a lot of it wasn't on him. Drop passes from receivers, bad penalties. We'll get to the penalties in a second here. Offensive line was a sieve. If anything, I thought he played actually pretty well. It was the rest of the team that really let him down. But this is what does have me intrigued of looking to the future, why I think that this loss actually could be more beneficial to the Chiefs than actually them winning the game. Because struggling on the big stage like they did, really for the first time in Mahomes' career, we saw the Chiefs look mortal. We've seen them have no answers, if you will, and really struggle. Patrick Mahomes, after the game, talked about how this game, this opportunity, this, not embarrassment, but this handling of a loss that they suffered yesterday could be a really huge teaching moment.
Obviously, it hurts right now. I mean, it hurts a lot, but we're going to continue to get better. We have a young group of guys that have learned had a lot of success and learned from that, but we've had a few failures, and we have to learn from that, and we can't let this define us. We have to continue to get better, going into next year, being even better and preparing ourselves to hopefully be in this game again.
So like, at least maybe I'm making too much of it, but you hear him at least talk about, hey, we got to get better. We have a lot of young guys on this team. This is going to be a huge learning moment going forward. If that is the case, if they take this loss, they look at it, they own it, they see, all right, what did we do wrong? How can we get better? To me, the Chiefs are going to come back even stronger than ever. Because you know what winning does, and we hear this all the time, winning cures all, right? You have a bad day, but you win the game, it's all good. Stat-wise, you have a bad game, but you win, it's all good. Winning can make anything feel better, but also can hide some of your flaws if you're not looking closely enough. And one of those big flaws, and we saw it come back yesterday in one of the worst ways for the Chiefs, penalties. They had 11 flags yesterday for 120 yards, third most in Super Bowl history. They're setting records, not the kind of records you want to set. But this wasn't a one-off. This wasn't a situation isolated only in the big game. This has been a common theme for Kansas City all season long. Fourth most penalties in the NFL this year in the regular season. Sixth most penalty yards in the NFL this year. And you were talking about pass interference and defensive holding, two calls that we saw a lot of last night in that Chiefs secondary. Well, they're third in both those categories. So this is a massive issue that's been plaguing Kansas City all season long. And now that it comes back to bite them, now that it helps destroy their back-to-back title run, maybe this is something that you address in the offseason, whether it's coaching, whether it's implementing some sort of system to punish guys who commit all these penalties. It's learning from your mistakes, realizing the small things truly do come back and bite you. Because honestly, too, when you have Patrick Mahomes, he's almost like a human eraser. Sure, you have some flaws, or the offensive line's not playing great, or maybe the play call is bad and the defense is actually playing well, but he's able to keep plays alive, scramble, throw just incredible passes down the field. Like, guess what? Erase some of the mistakes. Bail you out when things don't go your way. And that did not happen yesterday. So you heard Patrick Mahomes talking about how this is a teaching moment, this is a learning moment for all these guys on the team. You look how penalties, something that's really plagued them all season long, really came back in this situation. Came back to bite them big time. Another thing that has me at least not excited, especially as a Colts fan in the AFC, I'm not excited for the Chiefs to continue to win, that's for sure. But it has me at least, I'll say, is believing that this loss can actually be more beneficial to the Chiefs than a win. Help really start a dynasty building in Kansas City more than maybe a win would have, is because, again, when you have a loss like this, when you're humbled, but you still have a lot of the guys coming back, it adds fuel to the fire. And a lot of those core guys that do come back will not forget this moment. Because think about it, right? You have Patrick Mahomes, he's going to be there essentially forever. There through 2032, it's a lifetime contract. But Travis Kelce is coming back next year. Frank Clark, Chris Jones, Tyreek Hill, these guys are coming back and going to be here for the next 3 years. A lot of the most important pieces on your offense, on your team, will be returning, which is huge. Because you're not going to have a massive exodus. You're going to have guys now, usually what happens on Super Bowl teams, part of the reason why it's so hard to repeat and have sustained success is because guys get that ring, they get that championship, then they go get their money. Other teams overpay to have a Super Bowl champion on their team, and then all of a sudden you can't afford to have everyone. You start losing guys left and right. And the team that was once constructed so well to get to the Super Bowl now is picked apart because some of your best players are going elsewhere. That's not the case here. It's not the case last year after they won the Super Bowl when a lot of these guys came back. And again, you see they got right back to the big stage. Not going to be the case for the most part again this offseason. So they have a lot of guys on that team who remember what this will feel like. Remember the sting, the frustration, almost the embarrassment, if you will. So I'm really excited to see how this team takes a gut punch. Because again, we talked about this on Thursday, even leading up to the game, even in the preseason. When we were given our picks for the year, I said the Chiefs would not only get to the Super Bowl, I thought they were going to repeat personally. We never saw them do any wrong. Because again, even when they get in a 24-0 deficit, we talked about the human eraser. When they have flaws, when they have warts, Patrick Mahomes and his offense was able to erase them. And now they finally faced a situation they cannot overcome. So now it humbles you. It wakes you up, if you will. Not that you're overconfident. I wouldn't say and categorize the Chiefs as overconfident, because even here all throughout the year, they were motivated to run it back. Motivated to try to go back-to-back. This loss, I think, just exposed some of the cracks on the team. And if you do, or at least you take account of that and focus your offseason on fixing that, I think this team will come back better and stronger than ever. I think they'll go back and win next year. I truly do think this loss is more beneficial to them than a win. I think it will start a dynasty forming here in Kansas City. So I'm curious your thoughts. But Kansas City perspective, right? Because they're obviously on the losing end. Tough loss for them. They looked human. They looked mortal for the first time we've seen really in a long time. Really since Patrick Mahomes took over. Because even when they're losing games, they're still scoring a lot of points. And it's a fun shootout. They just were shut down in every aspect. The defense couldn't get a stop. The offense couldn't move the ball. Penalties killed them left and right. A lot went wrong. Basically, everything that could have gone wrong yesterday for Kansas City did go wrong. Is this one of those losses we can point to in 3 years from now, and 4 years from now, and 5 years from now and say, hey, that was a difference maker? That truly kind of opened their eyes and made them even better. I'm curious. I think that's going to happen. So curious your thoughts. Facebook, Worldwide Sports Network. Twitter, WWSRN_radio. You can tweet me there. Tweet me at Ryan Hickey Show. Comment on the live stream, whether it's Periscope, whether it's Facebook, and we'll get your thoughts when we do come back here and when we do come back for hour number 2. It is a copycat league. That is what the NFL is. One team has success, others try to emulate it. Well, can anyone emulate what Tampa Bay did, the Tampa Bay model? We'll discuss next, and also Jarrett Bell coming up in 20 minutes. We'll do that as well. It is the Ryan Hickey Show right here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Edward Lehman has been a trusted insurance advisor for over 16 years with insurance solutions for auto, home, commercial, life, and retirement. He's located at 54 Sunnyside Boulevard, Suite H in Plainview. That's just 1,000 feet south of 495. Local agent, local advice. The time to think about insurance is before you need it. So do yourself a favor, and before you pay your next insurance bill, give Ed and his team a call, 516-935-3900, or visit him online at www.allstate.com/EL. Edward H. Lehman Insurance is your trusted insurance advisor.
Hi, this is Terry Crews, actor, former football player, game show host, father of 5, and all-around big dude. I'm also an expert on drama. I know all kinds of drama. There's the good kind that comes with having a house full of kids. There's the bad kind, like season-ending injuries. There's the necessary kind, like having an agent in Hollywood. And there's silly drama, like the drama around my percolating pectorals. And then there's the drama you can skip.
Skip the drama that comes with not having your high school diploma or equivalency. Find free adult education classes near you and finish your high school diploma. Visit finishyourdiploma.org.
Or text diploma to 97779. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop to opt out. That's diploma to 97779. And leave the drama to actors like me.
Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ed Council.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes?
How could he do this to you? And for Sheila, she has split ends.
B, console her?
Oh, sweetie, this is going to happen a lot. 4, maybe 5 more times before you get married.
C, take charge.
Got to get this all straightened out. Keep a little talking to, man to man, mano a mano. Hey, Steve. It's now a good time? No? Okay, no problem. Bye.
Or D, help her find a new boyfriend.
I know a great place to meet boys. The internet. Nice, single boys. Never mind. How about some ice cream?
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Welcome back to the Ryan Hickey Show, right here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
And welcome back in hour number 2 of the Ryan Hickey Show right here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network, broadcasting to you live as we always are for every segment, every hour of every show from the Big Italy Pizzeria Studios. Whether it's great pizza, hot heroes, and phenomenal dinners, check out Big Italy Pizzeria if you're in person right here on Long Island and Medford. Joe's Pizzeria, their sister station, not even station. See, I'm so used to talking radio jargon here. Their sister shop in Bayshore, or online, wherever you are, bigitalypizza.com. Crush that. So we are back here reacting to Super Bowl 55, the big game in the books, the NFL season. Miraculously in the books. Big shout out to the NFL. 269 NFL games scheduled for the regular season and the playoffs. All 269 played. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. And it ends with Tom Brady winning yet another championship. Mind blowing. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers take home Super Bowl 55, 31-9 over the Chiefs. So you discussed a lot. Was this Tom Brady's greatest career accomplishment? I say no. It's still 20-3 comeback back in Super Bowl 51, but it's right there. Number 2 in my mind, but if you disagree, Ryan Hickey Show on Twitter at WWSRN_radio, also on Twitter. The MVP, at least in my mind, should have been Todd Bowles. It was just an incredible performance that he was able to conjure up there with that defense, getting after the Chiefs offense every single snap, it felt like. Giving Patrick Mahomes no time to figure it out, giving this offense of the Chiefs, whether especially Tyreek Hill, no breathing room. Anytime that guy ran, there was 2 or 3 Buccaneer players right there learning from the first game. When he torched him for 269 yards, I said, we're not doing that again. Took him out of the game, basically made him irrelevant until the last drive or two and the game is already over. And for the Chiefs, from their perspective, can this loss actually be more beneficial for them than a win? I do think so. I think this could help start the beginning of a dynasty because, again, we see when dynasties are formed, they don't win Super Bowls every year. The Steel Curtain with Pittsburgh didn't win a Super Bowl every year in the 70s. When the Cowboys, Troy Aikman, Michael Irvin, Emmitt Smith, they didn't win the Super Bowl every year for 3 or 4 or 5 years in a row. Hell, even Tom Brady, the guy who has more Super Bowls than any other team in the NFL, just himself. He has 7. No other team in the NFL has more than him. He didn't win it every year, even when things were humming in New England in the early 2000s. Even when things got started back again in the mid-2010s, this guy still was not winning Super Bowls every single year. He was not winning 2, or really, he did win 2 in a row once, but he's not winning 3 in a row, 4 in a row. And he went 10 years without winning a Super Bowl in between. So I truly think this loss can actually serve as a major learning moment for the Chiefs and will help make them better in the end. Help form a dynasty out there in Kansas City. So that's at least one of my thoughts from the Chiefs perspective. So anything you have, any thoughts you want to contribute, if you're just joining in the show, you want to get your thoughts on what we talked about earlier, no problem. Facebook, Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Twitter, WWSRN_radio, at Ryan Hickey Show. Also on Twitter if you want to chime in there, whether it's a live stream or tweet us directly. Jarrett Bell's reminder coming up in just about 10 minutes or so, who was in Tampa, who was there witnessing the game for himself. We'll discuss his thoughts and get his thoughts. But I'm curious. I want to get into this perspective, looking at the rest of the NFL, the other 31 teams, or really 30 teams that didn't participate in the Super Bowl. Can they take a page out of Tampa Bay's book? Because as we know, the NFL is a copycat league. What works for one team, other teams try to do as well. They try to emulate that success that one team has, whether it's hiring practices. We saw Sean McVay, right? The Rams go hire Sean McVay, this 32-year-old guy, offensive coordinator, no head coaching experience at all. And what happens? The Rams turn around. They have a lot of success. They go to a Super Bowl, and they made the playoffs a bunch since McVay was hired there in Los Angeles. And now what happens? The new hiring practice for head coaches is young, hotshot offensive coordinators. Who can we get that's young, that's innovative, that could be a Sean McVay type? Franchise quarterbacks. But again, now you see more dynamic, athletic quarterbacks who can make plays with not only their arm, but their legs as well, is in vogue. That's what teams are trying to pursue now. And for the most part, we thought, hey, you can only get a franchise quarterback. You can only get one of those guys in the draft. Well, Tampa Bay said, screw that. F that. We're not going with that system. We have a team built to win now. All we're missing is the quarterback. So what are we going to do? We're going to sign 43-year-old Tom Brady. We're going to go try to win a Super Bowl with a guy that's sure, he's leaving New England after 20 years. Sure, he's 43 years old. Sure, maybe his arm is decreasing, and we're going to ask him to throw the ball down the field more than he ever has. Sure, he's going to a new team in a pandemic where, sure, he is, all about trying to get familiarized and on the same page with the receivers, and he's not going to be able to do that. That didn't matter. They still thought this is the best way for us to go to the Super Bowl, get an older quarterback, plug him in, and it worked. So now what's going to happen? Teams are going to try to start figuring out this model, follow it. Or, hey, if we're a quarterback away, we don't have to blow it up and trade up to the number 2 or number 1 pick to try to draft a franchise quarterback. We can take someone else's scraps. We could pick someone else up off the scrap heap, plug them in, and if we have the right receivers, offensive line, head coach, offensive coordinator, defense around them, we can win a Super Bowl. So who else can do it? What other teams are a quarterback away from competing for a Super Bowl next year? We'll look at a trade that already happened that I think does help propel this team to one of the favorites in the NFC. That's the Rams. Rams already tried to make this model and tried to follow this model because they traded for Matthew Stafford a few weeks ago. You look at the Rams. Very similar to what the Buccaneers did. Rams in 2020 had the best defense in the NFL. A huge key, and as we saw yesterday, the Buccaneers defense raised hell on Patrick Mahomes. Raised hell. Gave him a lot to think about. Chasing him around all over the field. I mean, he scrambled for 468 yards yesterday. Every single time he got the ball dropped back, he's running for his life. Great defenses still can help you win the games. The Rams have that. Rams had the fourth most efficient run game in the NFL last year. Running the ball, still a massive key. Play great defense and run the ball. Keep Patrick Mahomes on the sideline. Big boost to try to win games. And you still have solid receivers. I like Cooper Kupp. I like Robert Woods. I think those two are very solid, above average receivers that really can help you win games if the right quarterback is there throwing them the passes, which now he will be in Matthew Stafford compared to what Jared Goff was. And you have a tremendously talented and smart head coach, Sean McVay. So to me, next year, I have the Rams right there at the Buccaneers as favorites in the NFC to go back to the Super Bowl. I am truly buying in that Matthew Stafford can replicate what Tom Brady did this past year. Because really, all this Rams offense was missing was a quarterback that could take them one level above. For Jared Goff, the goal was to be basically average, especially this year. He struggled mightily at times. And he was benched for John Wolford, for Christ's sake, in the wildcard game. They needed a quarterback that really could just play average football at best, and they'd have a chance to win. Well, now you have a quarterback way above average. I like Matthew Stafford. I think he still has a lot in his arm. And for those who maybe haven't watched, and I can't really blame you for not watching, I mean, it's the Detroit Lions, for God's sake. And he's there for over a decade. I can't really blame you for trying to look for an excuse or trying to look for a reason to watch Lions football. Matthew Stafford still has a lot of talent. He's still a really good quarterback, and I think he will have success in LA. So to me, the Rams already kind of followed in this blueprint of great team in place, solid offense, solid offensive line, really good running game, great defense, and they were a quarterback away, and they made that move. I think the Rams by far already right now are in that conversation. But there's a few other teams, because guess what? There is still one quarterback out there that is a game changer. I don't think any other quarterback right now, Jameis Winston, Sam Darnold, if he's on the block, Carson Wentz, I don't think any of those guys are elevating a team to the Super Bowl the way Tom Brady did. But there is one guy out there with a few teams that have the pieces in place that are a quarterback away from doing what Tampa Bay did. And that is Deshaun Watson. You trade for Deshaun Watson. You get this guy on your team. I truly think these two teams I'm about to list, forget having success down the road, because I think any team that acquires Deshaun Watson will have success down the road. But if we're talking immediate impact, next year we're talking Super Bowl opportunity. I do think there's two teams, both in the NFC, that if they get Deshaun Watson, we are talking about them having a Tampa Bay-like turnaround and being legitimate Super Bowl contenders next year. 49ers, that's an obvious one. At least I believe, personally. I know they're 6-10 this year, but a lot of that is injuries. I mean, you looked at how banged up they were in 2020, right? A team that just went to the Super Bowl last year. Think about the guys. Now, list the guys here on IR and their importance of how they were, and they missed a lot of time, if not all the year. Nick Bosa, second game of the year, IR, out for the year. Solomon Thomas, same game. So two of their interior defensive linemen. Two of the better offensive linemen, defensive linemen, out for almost the entire year. D Ford on IR, missed a chunk of time. Raheem Mostert, one of their great running backs. Jimmy G, their quarterback. Trent Williams. All these guys, key pieces of either the offense or defense, all were on injured reserve at some point or another this year. Either missed the year or missed a majority of it. So you have, again, it's tough to assume health in the NFL, but you assume your injury luck will be a little bit better in 2021 than it was in 2020. You still have, in my mind, the greatest head coach in the NFL right now to not have won a Super Bowl in Kyle Shanahan. Still love the way he calls games. Still love the way he calls offenses. So I think, yeah, he still has a lot of success. And you put Deshaun Watson on that team, look out. Good luck to the rest of the NFC. Tremendous, tremendous running game, which, again, takes a lot of pressure off Deshaun Watson. And, I mean, solid receivers, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle. I mean, these are weapons to throw to. Because that's another thing, too. Bringing Deshaun Watson there is going to make the team better. But when you have already pieces in place to take his game even to the next level, you're set. Because think about it. He threw 33 touchdowns this year, a career high. 7 interceptions this year, a career low. He did that on a god-awful team. Texans had no offensive line. He was running like Patrick Mahomes was running last night every single game. His receivers stunk. He traded away the best receiver that he ever had in DeAndre Hopkins, one of the best receivers in the game, traded him away. And his head coach got fired in the middle of the year. A lot going wrong, and still Deshaun Watson had an incredibly talented season. You put him on the 49ers, that team is instant Super Bowl contenders. And I'll go with one off the wagon, or maybe off the beaten path. I'll go the Washington football team. 7-9, division champions, home playoff game this year. If you put Deshaun Watson on the Washington football team, I truly do believe they can have a Tampa Bay turnaround. They can go from meddling, middle-ish team to Super Bowl contender and maybe even Super Bowl champion. Because look what they have. They have a very talented defense. And they easily have the best defensive line in all the NFL. They were top 5 this year. Their defense was in yards per game allowed, passing yards per game allowed, points per game allowed. So they have an incredibly talented defense that, again, shouldn't drop off next year because still a lot of those guys will return and on manageable contracts. Deshaun Watson, just his presence makes everyone better. So Antonio Gibson, their running back, who I'd like to have a solid rookie year. Terry McLaurin, a very good wide receiver. Those guys will get even better now when they have not Dwayne Haskins throwing the ball. Think about that. This Washington offense was god-awful. In part, Alex Smith, his return was incredible, but he's a game-changing quarterback. We won't go that far. Taylor Heineke and Dwayne Haskins. Those 3 guys throwing you the ball at different points. Oh, and Kyle Allen, 4 different guys throwing you the ball. I think this offense will only get better if you have Deshaun Watson back there. Offensive line will improve because just from Deshaun Watson's presence, his ability to get the ball quick, knows what he's doing. He's not Dwayne Haskins holding on the ball for an hour trying to figure out what the hell the defense is doing. That team, especially in the offensive end, will get remarkably better at every single aspect if Deshaun Watson on the team. So it's a copycat league. Tom Brady turned around the Tampa Bay Buccaneers where they went from 7-9 with Jameis Winston throwing 30 interceptions last year to Super Bowl champion. I think the 49ers can do that if they get Deshaun Watson. I think the Washington football team can do that if they get Deshaun Watson. I think the Rams, with their trade for Matthew Stafford, can absolutely do that as well. Those are the 3 teams. Personally, in my mind, if we're talking about copycat league, how can they, basically be a quarterback away, get that quarterback, and immediately turn around and be Super Bowl contenders the following year? Rams, 49ers, Washington football team. Rams already did it with the Matthew Stafford trade. I think either the 49ers or the Washington football team, if they get Dwayne Haskins, if they don't want him, if they get Deshaun Watson, they will have that turnaround as well. So I'm curious your thoughts. Can anyone have a Buccaneers-like leap next year? Go out and get a quarterback, and all of a sudden, the team that we're maybe not really looking at this year to be real contenders, all of a sudden, possibly be raising the Lombardi Trophy next year. So get your thoughts. And when we come back, Jarrett Bell, USA Today, was in the stadium last night. Watch this greatness go down by Tampa Bay. We'll discuss his thoughts next. It is the Ryan Hickey Show right here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Do current market conditions have you nervous? Our experienced team of financial professionals at Heritage Harbor Financial Associates understands that no 2 investors are alike. We all have different goals, needs, and appetites for risk. That's why the one-size-fits-all approach does not work, especially when planning for retirement. At Heritage Harbor Financial Associates, we analyze your unique investment style so that you can work toward your individual retirement goals on your terms. Heritage Harbor Financial Associates can help you take steps to reach your retirement goals by providing a wide array of financial financial products to fit your needs, even for the risk adverse. Give us a call at 631-331-6599 to learn more or to set up an appointment with one of our financial professionals. You can also find us on the web at hhfa.org or on Facebook at facebook.com/hhfa.org. Our number again is 631-331-6599. That's 631-331-6599. Investments in stocks, bonds, and mutual funds and variable annuities are not FDIC insured and are subject to fluctuation in value and market risk, including loss of principal. Heritage Harbor Financial Associates offers securities through AXA Advisors, LLC, New York, New York. Member FINRA, SIPC. Annuity and insurance products offered through AXA Network, LLC.
Edward Lehman has been a trusted insurance advisor for over 16 years with insurance solutions for auto, home, commercial, life, and retirement. He's located at 54 Sunnyside Boulevard, Suite H in Plainview. That's just 1,000 feet south of 495. Local agent, local advice. The time to think about insurance is before you need it. So do yourself a favor, and before you pay your next insurance bill, give Ed and his team a call, 516-935-3900, or visit him online at www.allstate.com/EL. Edward H. Lehman Insurance is your trusted insurance advisor.
Hi, this is Terry Crews, actor, former football player, game show host, father of 5, and all-around big dude. I'm also an expert on drama. I know all kinds of drama. There's the good kind that comes with having a house full of kids. There's the bad kind like season-ending injuries. There's the necessary kind like having an agent in Hollywood. And there's silly drama like the drama around my percolating pectorals. And then there's the drama you can skip.
Skip the drama that comes with not having your high school diploma or equivalency. Find free adult education classes near you and finish your high school diploma. Visit finishyourdiploma.org.
Or text diploma to 97779. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop to opt out. That's diploma to 97779. And leave the drama to actors like me.
Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ed Council.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes?
How could he do this to you? And for Sheila, she has split ends.
B, console her.
Oh, sweetie, this is going to happen a lot. 4, maybe 5 more times before you get married.
C, take charge.
Got to get this all straightened out. Keep a little talking to, man to man, mano a mano. Hey, Steve. It's now a good time? No? Okay, no problem. Bye.
Or D, help her find a new boyfriend.
I know a great place to meet boys. The internet. Nice, single boys. Never mind. How about some ice cream?
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Welcome back to the Ryan Hickey Show, right here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
And welcome back into the Worldwide Sports Radio with the Ryan Hickey Show with you till 11 a.m. Eastern. A little change of plans, slight change, slight deviation. Jarrett Bell will join us in 20 minutes, 15 minutes or so. I'm running a little late, so we will accommodate him at 10:40 Eastern to end the show. Down there in Tampa Bay, very, very busy, guys. So we'll push it back 15 minutes or so and get Jarrett on there to get his thoughts because, man, what he witnessed yesterday, being there in Tampa, just an incredible performance by the Tampa Bay defense, by Tom Brady winning his 7th Super Bowl. Incredible. So we get his thoughts there on, can this loss actually be beneficial for the Chiefs? I think yes. I think actually this is a dynasty building loss. Helps to kind of reveal some of the cracks, some of the flaws within the team. Help this be almost a humbling moment. Not that the Chiefs were over cocky or overconfident. I don't think that's fair to say. But just more maybe just kind of, brings you back down to earth a little bit. Maybe works even a little bit harder or just reminds you truly how hard it is. Something too, with all the success the Chiefs had, right? Patrick Mahomes in his first year, wins MVP, goes to the AFC title game where they lose in overtime to the Patriots. Obviously, devastating heartbreak. They come back, boom, win the Super Bowl. Come back this year, make it back to the Super Bowl. It's not that easy. It's never that easy. I think this kind of serves as just a reminder, a little, hey, back down to earth. What you're doing is incredible. It's impressive. When you look at the history of the NFL, the history of the Super Bowl, where no team has won 3 in a row, dynasties are built almost because of losses, if you will. And the losses make them stronger, make them better. I think that is what will happen here in Kansas City, and I'm confident that they will come back even more formidable next year, to be honest. It has me a little bit worried. And I already, for doing early 2021 Super Bowl picks, I will take the Chiefs again, at least to make it out of the AFC. And they've been accomplishing is just incredible. Maybe we'll ask Jarrett that. I'm very intrigued, and he wrote a column basically kind of highlighting the warts that kind of popped up here, the flaws that kind of were there that were revealed last night on Kansas City's side, because that, along with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense, 2 of the bigger storylines coming out of this game last night for sure. Do you want to quickly touch on these, maybe the halftime show? Because I guess am in the minority of what happened yesterday. The Weeknd performed. I like a lot of the Weeknd songs. I'm a big radio guy, kind of a pop guy, if you will, top 40 hits. So I'm one of those guys that probably a lot of music lovers hate, I guess, because I'm one of those guys that will not only like a song, but like the popular songs and just play it over and over and over and over again, beat it to death in like 2 weeks, basically similar to what the radio does. Like, I still enjoy the music on the radio. I know a lot of people kind of don't. Spotify, Apple Music, have your own playlists. But I kind of like the radio because they play the songs that I like, the same 20, 30, 40 songs that are popular. And The Weeknd had a lot of those. Blinding Lights, big fan of that song, although a little overplayed with the commercials leading up to the halftime show. But he had a lot of good bangers throughout his time. And he got the halftime show yesterday. Now, personally, I liked it. Like, I don't really know what I was expecting in terms of show. It was definitely interesting with the guys that had the masks on, if you want to even call them masks. I saw people saying that jock straps on. Looks like, I don't even know if it was like a mummy wrapping that they had. I don't really know what the design was. Honestly, I'm not cultured enough to understand that, to be honest, because, when it comes to fashion and what's in, what's out, what looks good, what doesn't, no clue, 0 clue. I'm not the guy you'll be talking to for fashion advice. That is for sure. So maybe that's in what they had, the wardrobe that was supposed to be in, and those extra dancers were on. But I still thought it was kind of cool, to be honest. Like, I like the songs. If you listen to Hickey's Pickies on Thursday, maybe the reason why I like the halftime show more than most is, not to brag, when we're doing prop bets, what was the first song The Weeknd would perform? Did say Starboy, not to pat myself on the back, but just throw that one out there in case you missed it on Thursday or maybe forgot. So a friendly reminder. But the songs I thought were fine. I mean, I can't lie, I got a little dizzy when he was inside that looked like the mirror room. I almost had thank God, not epileptic, because, man, I feel like he could have a seizure with that. All the lights, all the spinning. I don't really know how he was able to do all that spinning, by the way, without getting dizzy himself. Like, I was sitting there on the couch, like, wow, I'm getting dizzy. I got to almost look away from the screen. And here he is spinning around, singing. Don't know how he was able to do it. So I'll give him credit there. But yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I don't know why. That's another thing too. People don't really give reasons, at least on Twitter. Maybe I'm putting too much stock into opinions on Twitter, because, as you know, Twitter is not really a nice place. We'll say that. A lot of negativity. Being negative is in vogue. It's a cool thing to do. But I kind of liked it, but no one really gave a reason why they didn't like it. They just thought, this halftime show sucks. Oh, it sucked. Is that over? One of the worst halftime shows I've ever seen. All right. It was fine. It was good. Maybe it was just more the music, because it was my kind of tune, more top 40 hits than anything else. But hey, I thought it was pretty well. So at least want to put that out there that, I'll give The Weeknd credit, because a lot of people are knocking him, saying the show sucked. Maybe because I'm kind of the kind of audience that maybe would like that sort of thing, but I liked it. I thought it was pretty well. So I'll put that on the record. I enjoyed the halftime show. If you didn't, love to know why. Worldwide Sports Network on Facebook, WWSRN_radio on Twitter, at Ryan Hickey Show. Also on Twitter, but I just want to put that out there. Weeknd, I'll give him some credit. Give him some credit. So CJ DeSimone writes on Facebook, before we get to Jarrett Bell, again, just about 10 minutes or so, join us live from Tampa to get his thoughts on the game last night. Going back to what we just discussed before, CJ, with a couple of questions, because basically what we just talked about before we got to break there was the NFL being a copycat league, trying to emulate what other teams do well. So, hey, one team has success running the Wildcat, if you will. Boom. Next thing you know, every single year, the Wildcat is in some sort of playbook for every offensive team. The RPO, run pass option, all of a sudden now we're doing spread offenses, hurry up, put 4 receivers on the field and spread defenses out. Well, okay, now every team is doing that now that it has success. Sean McVay, you hire a guy with no head coaching experience, very young, but offensive genius. Boom. All of a sudden now everyone tries to find the next Sean McVay, try to follow that model and hire the new head coach because they think that's what breeds success. So whatever team does something right, goes out on a limb, tries something new, and it works, teams try their best to copy that. Take their blueprint, put their own spin on it, and try to run it back. Could we see that now with Tampa Bay? Because again, they did something out of the norm. Up until this point, we always thought, all right, the best way to get a franchise quarterback is through the draft. Sometimes you get lucky, like Seattle drafting Russell Wilson in the 4th round. Sometimes you get lucky because you have one bad off year, like the Colts, if you will, where Peyton Manning gets hurt, misses the entire year, get Andrew Luck, and you're right back there next year in contention. But whether it's the Chiefs trading up to get Patrick Mahomes, the Texans getting Deshaun Watson before they're about to trade him, however you got to do it, for the most part, you get a young franchise quarterback, dynamic, hopefully he plays well early on, have him still on a cheap rookie deal, and then try to win the Super Bowl while he's still very cheap. Because as we see, quarterback salaries are going through the roof. They are rising. There really is no ceiling so far, no bubble that's about to burst. And Patrick Mahomes just signed for $500 million. So yeah, quarterback salaries are going up. It's getting harder and harder to retain young quarterbacks that prove their worth. So the goal for teams and the thinking is, hey, we got to try to win a Super Bowl before we got to pay our franchise guy, because that way, once we do that, then other money allocated to other resources, defense, receiving core, whatever you name it, the strength of the team goes down because so much money is allocated to one position in the quarterback. So doing that again, thinking the best way to do so to win a title, draft a young quarterback and try to win before basically year 4, year 5, when he has to get some money. Well, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers said, no way, we're not doing that. We're going to deviate from the path. We're going to deviate from the norm. We had Jameis Winston, but we think we have a very good team around him. We just need a quarterback that maybe won't turn the ball over 30 times in a season, won't throw 6 pick sixes in a season, won't set records and join the 30-30 club we only thought was there for baseball, but he creates a new club on his own because he throws so many interceptions. And they did that with Tom Brady. They had the receivers, right? Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. They had the offensive line there. They had a tremendously talented defense. They were the best run defense last year. Their secondary improved as the season went on. Todd Bowles got better as the season went on. As you saw, he sprinkled in a few pieces, Gronk, Antonio Brown, a few other guys along the way. But also next year, Tampa goes from 7-9 last year to Super Bowl champions. So CJ writes on Facebook, he goes, 2 things. With Stafford being traded now, reports obviously Carson Wentz. It looks like he's going to be the next domino to fall. We'll get to more of that on Thursday for sure. If he's not traded yet, where he could go. And is Carson Wentz one of those guys that could change the fortune of a franchise, similar to what Tom Brady did in Tampa Bay? He's basically saying, are we going to start seeing a new trend where teams are growing impatient with quarterback development? Absolutely. Absolutely. CJ is 100% correct where, again, you see teams now not patient anymore. Because fair or unfair, and each circumstance is different for sure, we are now starting to see guys that pop right away and guys that don't. To where, hey, what you have in a rookie quarterback maybe immediately of how good he could be, what his ceiling could be. Because the way the game is called now, the college game, or the NFL game, I should say, mirrors so much what the college game is like. So you're not going from one system totally new to another one in the NFL like we saw really for the last, if you want to call it 50 or 60 years, up until kind of the NFL started adopting more and more college styles. But the rules, helping out the offense, the game plan, helping, being very similar. It's easier now for college quarterbacks to step in and have immediate success. Just like that. We just saw with Justin Herbert in the AFC West with the Chargers this year. Because a stud. So now because and you can find out quicker and sooner than maybe you ever have before of who you got and who you don't. Teams are absolutely growing patient. We just saw with Jared Goff. Not only do we see with Jared Goff where they moved on for a guy that took number 1 overall 5 years ago, they moved on after paying him, having almost an immovable contract. They said, that's no hindrance. We'll still figure it out. So yeah, Carson Wentz about to get traded, Jared Goff already traded. Forget the fact that they were taken respectively number 1 and number 2 overall in the same draft back in 2015 or 2016, excuse me. Forget that for a second. Even you can now pay guys early. If it doesn't work out, you could still trade them and get some value back and figure it out. So CJ asked the question, and CJ 100%. Teams now will get more and more and more aggressive. One, because Tampa Bay just showed you can do so. Tampa showed you can get rid of the number one pick. Jameis Winston, number one pick in 2015. They got rid of him. They dumped him. They brought in Tom Brady, and they won a Super Bowl. So, yeah, 100% teams now are going to see that philosophies, realize, hey, maybe there's other quarterbacks out there that are just on a bad team, a lot of talent, and all we need is one guy to elevate our team a little bit, and they will play better. They will get to the Super Bowl or be Super Bowl contenders. We saw with the Rams. I think it's 100% the right philosophy for them. We'll see who lands Carson Wentz. We'll see who lands Deshaun Watson. Watson a little bit different because, he's not a cast-off. He's just forcing his way out because of the incompetence of the Texans. But, yeah. Teams now, instead of trying to tank for the top pick to get a quarterback, teams realize, hey, we can build a really solid team around the quarterback, similar to what the Colts are doing right now. I love the Colts offensive line. Great run game in Jonathan Taylor. Great defensive line. They have, for the most part, a very solid team. A very well-built team, but they are missing a quarterback. Well, now it's getting easier and easier for teams to be able to build their team and plug in a quarterback that maybe has been around the league a little bit, maybe in a bad situation or maybe given up on too early, and have success. So I 100% think when CJ asks the question, is it going to be a trend? Absolutely. And teams now are going to be aggressive in pursuing this and trying to find this angle. You don't have to tear it down just because you don't have a quarterback. And you don't have to all of a sudden try to tank to try to get a top quarterback, because now that's not the only way we've seen that can win football games and win Super Bowls. And he also asks, which team do you see making a major move this offseason? I just mentioned them before when talking about, teams that if they get a quarterback, they will be immediate Super Bowl contenders. I think it's the 49ers. I do think they will be very aggressive. I think personally, just from what you read and what you hear, I think the 49ers are done with Jimmy G. I mean, they almost signed Tom Brady. John Lynch last offseason admitted him and Kyle Shanahan weighed the option of signing Tom Brady. Instead, they eventually stuck with Jimmy Garoppolo. But who knows? I mean, maybe we're talking about the 49ers right now as Super Bowl champions instead of the Buccaneers if that goes their way. Who knows? So I think, to me, because they have an incredible team, right? They have a great defensive line, a solid defense, great front seven, really good running game, and really they are a quarterback away in my mind. I think they'll be very aggressive, whether it's Deshaun Watson, maybe it's Sam Darnold, maybe Jameis Winston. I don't think they're in the Carson Wentz sweepstakes. I think, to me, at this point, he's going to go to the Bears for sure. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they trade up to try to get a quarterback. I think, to me, the 49ers will be aggressive either in free agency to get a quarterback or the draft to trade up to get a quarterback. But to me, at least, because they have a lot of the pieces there set, ready to go, I think they'll be the ones aggressive. So take a quick break. When we come back to finish out the show, Jarrett Bell will join us from USA Today, a tremendously talented NFL columnist. He was in Tampa last night. We'll get his perspective on the Buccaneers win, what's next for the Saints, and more. We'll do the next. It is the Ryan Hickey Show right here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Edward Lehman has been a trusted insurance advisor for over 16 years with insurance solutions for auto, home, commercial, life, and retirement. He's located at 54 Sunnyside Boulevard, Suite H in Plainview. That's just 1,000 feet south of 495. Local agent, local advice. The time to think about insurance is before you need it. So do yourself a favor, and before you pay your next insurance bill, give Ed and his team a call, 516-935-3900, or visit him online at www.allstate.com/EL. Edward H. Lehman Insurance is your trusted insurance advisor.
Be fearless at MMA Long Island and Seituha Karate. Located at 28 Cold Court in Ronkonkoma, MMA Long Island is the martial arts school for you if you want to learn combat-proven techniques, build confidence, discipline, and self-esteem while learning real martial arts to fight back against bullies, predators, and peer pressure. MMA Long Island offers group and private lessons for all ages and levels in traditional Goju-Ryu Karate, MMA, and self-defense. MMA Long Island is one of Long Island's most affordable martial arts schools. There are no promotion, belt, or membership fees, and family discounts are available. All classes are taught by 7th degree black belt Sensei John Benedict with over 30 years teaching experience. So whether you want to get in the ring or protect yourself and your family, MMA Long Island can help you reach your goals. Visit MMALongIsland.com. That's MMALongIsland.com or call or text 516-381-9660. That's 516-381-9660.
Of course my kid's in the right car seat. Well, I think he is.
Yeah, my kid's in a booster seat. He was ready to move up. He is ready, right?
Her car seat looks like the right size.
There are probably rules on when to move up to a booster seat, aren't there?
Rear facing, forward facing. I think I have it right.
Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Are your children in the right car seat for their age and size? Don't think you know. Know you know. Go to safercar.gov/the right seat.
I know my child's in the right car seat, or else I wouldn't get in the driver's seat.
Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Welcome back to the Ryan Hickey Show, right here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
And welcome back into the Worldwide Sports Radio. It is the Ryan Hickey Show with you right here until 11 a.m. Eastern. Wrapping it up on a Monday, the Monday after the Super Bowl. Very excited to be joined by our next guest, a very talented NFL columnist for USA Today at Jarrett Bell on Twitter. Is the aforementioned Jarrett Bell. Jarrett, thanks so much for giving us a few minutes here. How are you?
I'm hanging in there, Ryan. The day after is always a good thing.
Yeah.
It's over with, but yeah, what a deal, man. What a season. You know, last night watching Tom Brady and the Bucs kind of put it all together, it was pretty impressive. But yeah, man, it's on to next season already.
Crazy, right? It is just a 365 cycle that is the NFL. But you beat in the building last night. I'm curious because at least on TV, obviously, I think the cardboard cutouts had something to do with it, but it looked packed. I'm curious your perspective being there in the building. What was it like? With sure, it was about 25,000 or so, but it looked a lot more crowded than that. What was the atmosphere like?
Yeah, you know what? It's a great point because those cardboard cutouts, you saw them before the people really came into the stadium, or just a few people because you know you're there, 3 hours before the game or whatever. And when you saw the people fill in the spots around the cardboard cutouts, it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
it's a pretty cool optical thing. I actually walked around, Ryan, about a couple hours before the game, and I took some pictures and stuff, and the people just kind of blended in with the cutouts. But it's kind of funny because, like, in addition to like the fans who could buy the cutouts, they had a lot of these cutouts of like the Hall of Famers and famous NFL players. So I took a picture, and it's like, oh, that's Steve Young, and that's Art Monk, and that's Troy Aikman, and so it was a pretty cool illusion. But you know how they've been doing all season, where they've been piping in the noise, and so I can imagine that the TV feel was even more impressive when you talk about having a full stadium. But being right there in the house, yeah, it seemed like a really, like a real game, because the one thing I've noticed all season, and I've covered about, 12 or 14 games this year, is that even when you have a limited amount of fans in the stadium, I mean, if they start cheering, the sound carries, and you feel like you are in, a pretty full stadium, not like the Superdome, when it's at full capacity, but still in all, like the home team, I think gets a boost from it.
So I'm just going to ask, because I personally couldn't tell from the TV perspective. Like, maybe it is like the crowd noise from Fox or CBS, that maybe kind of drowned it out. But being it a Tampa home game for them technically, right? Did you feel there was a home field advantage in the stands for the Buccaneers, or was it mostly neutral for the most part?
No, I think it was a definite Bucs heavy crowd because in Tampa, and you think about this too, Ryan, the NFL gave out 7,500 tickets to frontline healthcare workers, right? And while every team was represented in sending some healthcare workers from their market. The bulk of them, I would say upwards of 7,000 of the 7,500 were from the Tampa area. So most, overwhelming percentage of the healthcare workers were from the Tampa region, and they were, in full effect favoring the Bucs and wearing the Bucs gear. So it definitely felt like a home game. Although I will say, there were still a number of Chiefs fans, a significant number of Chiefs fans that I saw, filter and around town in the days leading up to the game. But unlike most Super Bowls, and I know that's kind of the gist of your question, because you think of most Super Bowls and there are neutral crowds. I remember the one up in New York, though, being kind of an exception, okay, because you had a bunch of Seahawks fans that traveled, and when they played the Broncos that one year, and you had like a Seahawks feel. So this was probably the most, of a home crowd advantage, if you will, since that Super Bowl in New York.
That's interesting. Yeah, I was actually, being from New York, I actually volunteered a day or two in that Super Bowl week leading up to the game. And you're right. Now that you mention it, it was the Seahawks fans were vocal. They were loud. It definitely, at least again, leading up to the game, did feel like, it was a Seahawks heavy crowd. That's interesting that, you mentioned it that way. Yeah, that's good.
Because Ryan, you remember early in the game where the Broncos had that crazy snap, they fell behind, right from the start, and they were back at that end zone, and they were all Seahawks fans.
You're right, yeah.
Where they were, and it was noisy, and Peyton couldn't hear, and the center couldn't hear. So, you get that sometimes. Like I said, if you had a Superdome or even a Kansas City where the crowd, drowns out the signals and stuff, but you don't get that very often in a Super Bowl. So I don't think that last night rose to that level in that kind of situation, obviously. But throughout the game, yeah, it was Bucs fever. And then after the game, as we were talking before we came on the air, I mean, I couldn't get back to the hotel in a timely manner because they blocked out all the streets because the people were, reveling, man. And so these past few days in Tampa have been interesting when you consider it against the backdrop of a pandemic, because these people here, man, they are not into the masks, okay? Not 100% not into it, but of all the places I've been this year, man, I've been to Pittsburgh a couple times, I've been to New Orleans, I've been to Vegas, I've been to Seattle, and I've been to Tampa 3 times before the Super Bowl. And of all the trips I made this season, I swear that the mask etiquette, if you will, was at its worst in Tampa. So saw it again over these past few days with the Super Bowl.
No, pandemic's in 49 of 50 states, huh? Florida's the exception.
I don't know. Yeah. It's definitely left an impression on me. You just walk around and then, you saw people in the bars and stuff just packed in there, and like with no mask and stuff. Now I did not go in. I just kind of did some sightseeing on Saturday, but that's what I observed. I saw a whole lot of people ignoring the mask mandate, which was, formally instituted by the mayor here. But anyway, now they're getting ready to have a boat parade eventually. Okay.
Oh, that's a nice twist.
Yeah, that's what the Tampa Bay Lightning did.
Okay.
They won the Stanley Cup. Instead of a conventional parade, they had a boat parade. So there's already talk about that's how the Bucs will bring in their Super Bowl. But what a deal, man! You think about this, Ron. Had anybody told you a year ago that the Bucs would be the next Super Bowl champs, you would have laughed at them, because a year ago we didn't know if Tom Brady, what was going to happen with Tom Brady. They still had Jameis Winston, and they were still the Bucs, right?
Oh, totally.
And you look at last night, and all the players who scored for the Bucs last night were guys that they brought in. Leonard Fournette, Gronkowski with 2 touchdowns, Antonio Brown, even the kicker, Ryan Suckup, came this season. So phenomenal job. And it's really why I voted for Jason Light, the Bucs GM, as my executive of the year. I think Brandon Beane won the award. He got a lot of love, and he did a great job in building the Bills into what they have become. But not only did Jason Light lure Tom Brady, along with Bruce Arians working at, But they brought in a lot of other pieces, and you saw that reflected in what they were able to do and winning the Super Bowl.
Talking to Jarrett Bell, USA Today NFL columnist at Jarrett Bell on Twitter. So that is a perfect segue because we literally just talked about that leading into this interview. Was, as we know, the NFL is a copycat league, right, Jarrett? As soon as one team has success doing one thing, boom, a few other teams try to mirror that. Is this?
Yeah.
Do you think this could be, a trend going forward of teams now, taking quarterbacks off the scrap heap, if you will? Not that Tom Brady, is bad by any stretch, but he wasn't coveted like maybe a Deshaun Watson is or other quarterbacks in the draft. We only saw you can get franchise quarterbacks and win Super Bowls by drafting them. Is this going to be the new wave now where you can get quarterbacks, off of other teams and plug them in and win?
You know what? I think that there's some merit to that, as for sure. All of these situations are, specific to, the people and the teams involved. But you look at what the Rams did in getting Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford is a good quarterback who has just been surrounded by, a bad team with the Lions, right?
Right.
And not only for 1 year, but for, throughout the bulk of his career, even though they made the playoffs, I think 3 times under Matthew Stafford. But you put him on the Rams, from, with Sean McVay and whatever they could do creatively, offensively, but also with that entire team and the defense and all that. So we'll see if that works. But that's kind of I think, going to be, door number 2, if you will. Last year, Bruce Arians at the Combine, where people were asking him about what was going to happen at quarterback with Jameis Winston and all their other options. And he said, hey, door number 1, door number 2, or door number 3. Now, at that time, he obviously knew that they were going to make a play at Brady, but didn't know how it was going to turn out. So that was kind of his response to it. We'll see what the options are. And I think more teams will be more open-minded to that. I also hope, Ryan, that more teams will be open-minded to giving some brothers some opportunities to have some leadership on the coaching staff. As the Bucs had, 3 black coordinators, man, talking about the offensive coordinator, Byron Leftwich, Todd Bowles, and the defense, and Keith Armstrong with the special teams. And you know how much conversation there has been, not only this year, but last year, the year before, about black coaches getting opportunities. Well, Bruce Arians brought those guys in. He had a connection to all of them. Todd Bowles played for him at Temple. Keith Armstrong played for him at Temple. Byron Leftwich was one of his backup quarterbacks when he was coordinator at the Steelers. And so he gave those guys opportunities. But I think it was really pointed that Bruce Arians throughout the week, and really going back even before that, really tried to emphasize how much of a factor Byron Leftwich was in running their offense, not only in calling the plays, but installing it and running it. And too often, there's a sense, and we don't always know how much the head coach is, running things, or how much is he delegating to other people. But Bruce Arians really made the point that he was giving, Byron Leftwich, a lot of, control of the offense. And we know Todd Bowles on the defense, what a wonderful plan they came up with to deal with Patrick Mahomes. That was a great thing to see if you like defensive football.
100%. Jared, that leads me to my next question. Perfect. I was going to say, now, with your MVP vote, I'm curious, which way did you go? Because I started the show by saying Todd Bowles MVP of the game. His defensive game plan against the Chiefs, I mean, that defense did stuff to the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes we've never seen before. I mean, think about it, Jared. 9 points this Kansas City offense scored last night. It was so impressive what Todd Bowles was able to do. I'm curious, at least MVP, are you even allowed to maybe vote for a coordinator, or at least what was your impressions of what Todd Bowles did and his blueprints on the game last night?
Yeah. So let's start. I did vote for Tom Brady, right?
Okay.
And it's weird because that has come up before, where you go, hey, this entire defense deserves the award, right? But, they don't ask you to vote for a unit, and that would almost be a lazy thing, So, the way it's set up, they don't have ground rules per se.
I was just going to ask, is it like a blank paper where you just write down a name, or is it like a fill in the blank where you have like multiple options?
No, what it is typically is a blank sheet of paper with your name on it and, your vote, right?
Okay.
Well, this year They didn't even have a piece of paper. So I get them, and I've done this now for like 20 years or whatever, right? So I always like to see the piece of paper at my spot in the press box, and I'll snap a picture of it and, send it on social media or whatever. But they didn't even have a piece of paper this time. And so I called the NFL official, in the press box, and I said, hey, where's my, because I knew I was doing it because they called, a few days before the game and said, hey, you're in to do it again, right? And I said, of course, right? So this time, being in this COVID thing, there was no paper. And I asked the NFL officials, like, wait, did you guys forget to give me the paper or what? She says, no, just text your answer to the guy, one of the designated staffers, and that's going to be your vote. And I was like, okay, so they still have a record of it because you're going to text it to them. And that's how they did it last night. But again, just to get to the point about, picking one person or picking a unit, yeah, there have been a number of times over the years where, you are tempted to want to vote for, an entire unit or even a coach. And it's never happened before. We've had co-MVP. We had a co-MVP before years ago with the Cowboys with Harvey Martin and Randy White. But yeah, I think, you can definitely make the case, as has happened before, to pick a unit. Now, that being said, who would be the one guy on defense if you had to pick a player from the Bucs? I mean, they had a lot of people doing
It's
a lot
tough.
of good stuff.
I know.
Yeah, Devin White would be maybe the guy. Shaq Barrett would be a guy. Even Ndamukong Suh, I don't know if it rose to the level of MVP, but he made a couple big plays. So it was definitely a team effort. And yeah,
it was.
But Tom Brady gets it from this standpoint too. Leonard Fournette was saying after the game that Tom Brady throughout the whole week texted all the guys on the team one simple message at like 11 o'clock at night, and that message was, "We will win." Kind of that whole subliminal seduction stuff, man. Just putting that on your brain, sending it to everybody day after day after day leading up to the Super Bowl. And oh, by the way, they did win. But, Bruce Arians was saying, hey, that's just an example of how, Brady really came in and helped change their culture. I mean, it's great leadership. And, when you do that, you also have to back it up. And that's why you were able to see Tom Brady chew people out right during the season. And then when they win, those same people he was chewing out, those linemen for the most part, I mean, they're loving on him. So, yeah, Tom Brady, ultimate leader, ultimate winner on top of it. So he deserves the MVP, even though he had just 200 yards passing. He didn't make any, big, mistakes and blunders that hurt him. And you can win a lot of games like that when you have your defense balling the way the Bucs had it.
They were balling for sure. We're talking to Jarrett Bell, USA Today NFL columnist. 2 more quick questions for you, Jeff, before I get out. I'm just curious. Speaking of Tom Brady, obviously the big question is this his greatest career accomplishment? Do you think so?
Whew. It's great. Yeah, I haven't thought of it yet like that to compare them, but I think it is because of a couple reasons. One, he's 43 years old, but even more so because he switched teams and nobody's been able to win a Super Bowl in the other conference. We've had, Peyton Manning was able to win 2 Super Bowls, and Peyton, when he won that one with the Broncos, that was all on the defense, right? In fact, Von Miller, a defensive player, was the MVP that game. So I think, yeah, this is Tom Brady's greatest accomplishment. And also because it happened in just 1 year. When they signed him, I thought, when they got him, I thought, okay, maybe they'll build this thing up, and in 2 years they could, compete for a Super Bowl. Well, fooled me.
Jared, I'm with you there. I thought playoffs, maybe a win or 2, and that's it.
Yeah, and build it for next year. But think about this too. If you have a season like this, like they've had in the NFL with all of the, COVID-related challenges to it, who are you going to roll with? I mean, to
That's
win.
That's a good point.
Yeah, and I thought the Patriots might be a team that would gain some stuff, but I say that to say it from the standpoint that you want, consistency. You want programs that have, high standards and kind of how they operate. And we saw a little bit of that, I think, with the way some of these teams handled the challenges. But like Brady was saying this morning, he said, hey, this season was like football for junkies, football for football junkies, because all they did was, stay locked down, not a whole lot of off the field stuff like they normally have in a season. And so, if you were the one to really embrace just, the pure elements of football and preparation and focus and all that, then you could get an advantage. So apparently that's part of the Bucs' secret as well.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely, for sure. So last one here for you, Jarrett. I want to highlight the column you wrote for USA this morning, or I guess, this morning, by the time the game ended and everything, because it focused a lot on the Chiefs, warts that came up and showed up last night, the distractions that they were dealing with kind of leading to this game. Is this a loss? And maybe did you get the sense post-game, from Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, whoever, you were in on the press conference with, where this could be a loss that actually almost betters them going forward? This could be like a wake-up call almost as a down-to-earth experience where they come back even in faster, stronger, better than next year? Is this a loss that could help maybe build a dynasty in Kansas City going forward?
Yeah, well, I don't like that talk about building a dynasty.
Okay.
Really, I really don't. And we've heard a lot of this narrative. And in fact, all this stuff about Patrick Mahomes being, the next GOAT and all of that. As great as Patrick Mahomes is, as much as we love him, it has to happen. And what happens in the media and sports talk and with the fans, everybody tries to spin everything forward, like now, like, okay, this is going to happen next year. Well, crap. You got to go through this stuff year after year. It all changes. People can get hurt. People leave as free agents. People retire. People get older. I mean, stuff happens. So, yeah, it should be a wake-up call. I didn't get the sense that the Chiefs were too full of themselves, but the conversation, especially Mahomes, that kid just really carries himself with a great deal of humility, grace, focus, leadership, all of that. So the short answer is, yeah, they'll be contending again, but don't call them a dynasty, man. Don't even let that come out your mouth. When you won one and you got to another one. I know, really. Think about the Seattle Seahawks.
Oh, I agree.
They won that one that we talked about a few minutes ago in Jersey against the Broncos. They came back the next year and they could have won it until, Malcolm Butler picks off Russell Wilson, right? And then, but I think when they won that first one, people were like, oh, look at them. They've got all these pieces in place. All these guys on long-term contracts. They got this defense. They'll win like 3-4 Super Bowls. No, this stuff has to happen year to year. I mean, so that's what I say about the Chiefs, man. They'll be good, and they got Mahomes, but Mahomes could end up being Aaron Rodgers, where you're a great quarterback with MVP awards galore, and you don't win a Super Bowl. Or he could be Peyton Manning, 5-time Super Bowl MVP. 2 Super Bowls in however many years. So I don't like to talk about dynasties, okay?
No,
maybe
that's...
you're just giving me an idea of what to write about, as a follow-up to this thing.
I want to, because you actually brought up a good point about the Seahawks. So that's a team I point to. And the reason why I kind of asked this question is because, I mean, even you hear reports years after, and who knows, right? We don't know the inner workings of the Chiefs, but you hear reports coming out of Seattle years after where there was, a division between the offense and defense. The defense didn't like how Russell Wilson, and that kind of, I don't want to say the infighting itself kind of led to their downfall, but there was factors within the team that that loss maybe kind of put them in the wrong end. Where you look at other dynasties, the Patriots or the Steelers or the Cowboys, where one of those losses almost helps galvanize you, if you will. Maybe that's how I should have phrased it better. Can this loss maybe galvanize the Chiefs going forward?
Yeah,
that's a better way to frame it. I apologize with the dynasty, but
no. I agree with you on that part of it for sure. And the whole chemistry thing is definitely part of it as well. But, that being said, maybe the Ravens got galvanized too. You know what I'm saying? By losing at Buffalo. Maybe the Bills.
Yeah.
So this stuff still has to play out. And every year is different. Because what if you go into next year and you lose, your best pass rusher to a knee injury in the training camp or something? All these different things that happen over the course of time, you got to work through them. But in terms of, like you said, wake-up call, reality check, there's some of that, but there's always that in the NFL. So, but they got guys, and the one thing you hear about them, and playing under Andy Reid, that, there's a definite culture there of camaraderie and a culture of cohesiveness that it helped them. But again, the Bucs, they kind of got some stuff going with their chemistry too.
That they do. Well, Jarrett Bell, you've been very gracious with your time. Very talented USA Today NFL columnist. And get home safe. Wherever you're hanging out in Tampa. Hopefully, you get home safe. Especially if it's in up north. Enjoy the cold weather. It's a lot here waiting for you.
yeah. Back to Northern Virginia. I'm very looking forward to shoveling snow, man.
That's doing that this morning before I got here. It was a stark contrast looking at the game last night and then waking up this morning, looking out the window saying, "Oh, this is definitely not Tampa." But get home safe. Enjoy. We appreciate the time and look forward to that column about dynasties. Don't call them a dynasty just yet.
No, not after the way they did last night. Anyway, man, have a good one.
You as well, Jared. Appreciate your time. Thank you so much, Jarrett Bell. Always a lot of fun having him on. Really do glad he was able to join us because you hear his perspective. It's very entertaining. A guy who was in the building yesterday, had some home field advantage, and explained why he voted for Tom Brady MVP. Very do appreciate Jarrett's wisdom and his thoughts with us. And that will do it for this edition of the Ryan Hickey Show. Really appreciate all you who tuned in, listened, hopefully enjoyed the show. Thank you for those commented on Facebook and Twitter. Hopefully made your Monday a little bit more brighter, a little bit more warmer, especially if up here in the Northeast where it snowed again last night. But enjoy the rest of your week. Stay safe, stay sane. We'll talk to you on Monday right here. Or Monday. Holy smokes. I need a refresher. I need to see you on Thursday. There we go. Right here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.